You're watching Service Drive, exclusively on CBT News.
Fixed ops remains the backbone of dealership profitability. Joining us today is Corey Smith, who's the National Fixed Ops Training Manager at EasyCare. Corey works with service departments across the country, and today he's here to talk about what dealers should really be focusing on here in 2026 to keep performance strong. So Corey, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us on the show.
Yeah, I'm not traveling today, so this is great. I'm in a home office. So.
There you go. There you go. I take it working with dealers all over the country, you're on a few planes every now and then, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about this. In 2026, obviously, service departments and fixed ops departments out there it's going to be front and center because of profitability, and maybe we might be seeing a little bit less new car sales out there, and obviously used cars are hard to come by, and people are keeping them longer, which should also help fixed ops profitability. But what are you asking your clients to really focus on in the new year?
Well, my answer is really short and simple. It's the service advisor, because the service advisor is the single biggest lever to protect retention, drive trust, and convert work ethically.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It stops and starts there, doesn't it?
Well, we look at all these surveys and they're great. Cox has one. Dealerships are losing service share to independents, quick lane.
Yeah.
Retention is a fight. So Cox has shown some meaningful decline in dealership shares of service visits since 2018,
right,
even while overall service revenue is getting bigger.
Sure.
Just imagine if the dealership focused on that customer and didn't lose them to the independents, how much more revenue they would have.
That's right. Why is the industry still suffering from losing customers to independents? What is it still the perception of price and the fact that they think it's going to take longer? I mean, that's been kind of the two biggest reasons. Is that still the case today?
It's still the case, but there's a little mixture of that, is that the advisor's job is to tell a story. People buy stories.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going through and treating them like a transaction, that's all they're going to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is the new CSI engine,
mm-hmm,
right? The more we communicate with the customer and deliver on that promise, inform them, focus on their needs, meeting the customer promptly, and follow up.
mm-hmm.
You talked about this earlier. The customer is keeping their car longer.
Yeah.
And more maintenance and repair opportunity is there.
That's right.
But customers will choose who they trust and who's convenient. In 2026, I would prioritize service advisors, not because technicians don't matter, they do, but because the advisor controls the customer experience, the greeting, the walk around, the clarity of the estimate, and the updates and follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
If you want higher retention and happier customers, it starts with advisors executing and being consistent.
Yeah, good point. Are you saying then that the independents, the service advisors at the independents are actually doing a better job in this area of better communication and follow-up than the stores are doing?
Yes.
Wow. That's an eye-opener, isn't it? Because you would think that the people at the dealership would be better trained. Typically, they've got trainers like yourself, or maybe OEM trainers that are coming in and working with these individuals. When you think about a Pet Boys, or you think about a Costco or Walmart or what have you, service centers, you just think about some grease monkey that wipes off their hands and says, hey, let me write you up, and what do you need? You need tires or an oil change or what have you. You don't necessarily think of somebody that's skilled or trained in the area of communication and follow-up, right?
Yeah, and I see a lot of too many dealerships training and focusing on sales, but hiring a service advisor and after a week letting them greet customers when they really don't know what they're doing yet.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the right amount of time that do you think that somebody's got to be in training as a new service advisor before they are greeting customers?
I think 3 to 4 weeks is a good measure.
Mm-hmm.
There's some companies that I've worked for that you didn't talk to a customer until you went through the training.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wish I would have gotten that when I was a new advisor, because it was literally, there's your computer, there's your route sheet, there's your phone, those are your texts, good luck.
Right.
It wasn't until later on that I started getting these types of trainings, and we have changed. The employee has changed. We've talked about that a number of times.
Sure.
But for service managers, coaching has to become a daily behavior based and supported by technology, not just random events of training, or you're in his office for a numbers only pressure meeting.
Right.
So customers really want what I'd call an Amazon level update. status, transparency, and speed. I didn't understand that as an advisor. If I had your vehicle, Jim, and I didn't have a update to give you, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
Well, that made you upset because your vehicle, you really want it back, right?
That's right.
It's your baby, right?
That's right.
And so we go into a training event with advisors, and we'll pull up this screen that says, here's the steps for a customer visit, greeting, the walk around, multi-point and menu presentation, status updates, invoicing and billing, and active delivery. Out of this whole list, what do you think is the single most important thing for the customer? And they always land on status updates.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I'll say, out of this whole list, what are we not good at?
Yeah.
And it's status updates.
Yep. That's right. That's right. And that's unfortunate because nowadays it should be one of the easiest things to do, right?
It should be, yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I learned the hard way is I would ask the customer, hey, here at ABC Motors, we do it your way. How would you like me to communicate with you, Jim? Your part's on galactic back order. Do you want me to call you every day, text you every day, email you every day, do it once a week? You would tell me as a customer how you want it.
Yeah.
And I learned this part from Eric Howdegi, one of my coworkers, is that if you land on Friday, call them on Thursday. You're going to leave a voicemail saying, hey, Jim, I was just thinking about you. I don't have an update for you. I'll call during our scheduled time on Friday.
Yeah.
That makes them feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. And they know that that they're top of mind with you, which means so much to customers today, for sure. When I was in training to be a service advisor early on in my automotive career, they had me shadow one of the other service advisors, right? I came to find out later it was the weakest service advisor. It wasn't. It wasn't the strongest service advisor because he was the only one at the time that was willing to take on, a trainee, so to speak. And the others were like, nope, I'm too busy, and I'm cranking. I'm the top performers or what have you, and I'm not doing that, boss. So give it to the flunky over there. And of course, the flunky was the one that was training me, and I learned a lot of these different techniques and what have you the wrong way. And you do still see that today, right? Where somebody just mirrors somebody and says, "Hey, look, stick with them for a few days, and then we'll slowly, bring you into the fold here, where you're now taking your own customers and what have you." And major mistake, right? Just because somebody can write service doesn't necessarily mean that they're an effective trainer.
No, if you have, let's say, 3 different advisors, they're all doing it a different way.
Right.
So the customer experience is going to be different. You'll go see Rob the first visit and Ken the next visit and then Linda.
Yeah.
Right? And they all do things differently.
That's right. That's right.
Training without a process doesn't work. You have to have a standard process. What's your minimum requirement to maintain the job and get everything done effectively? Yeah. If you're greeting the customer differently, all 3 of you, then they're not getting that standard response. They're not getting that treatment that we want to give them as a dealership.
That's right. That's right. For dealers that are watching, what can they do for an immediate improvement? What's like maybe 1 or 2 practical training adjustments that they can make to implement this month that will help move the needle, in your opinion?
I think getting with your team and having a standard process, asking them, okay, when the customer comes in, what's step 1? And list all that. Have the advisors and the technicians give you the play, and then they're going to hold themselves more accountable, and they're going to be more accountable to it. Right. I think having your service manager or fixed ops director having a 10-minute one skill huddle, how to ask for the okay, how do we explain breaks, how do we explain I'll think about it, like overcoming those objections, score the behavior, not just the person. Yeah. Make sure they're going through the checklist, the walk around, the MPI, and utilize AI and automation to remove some of that busy work, right? Yeah. So coaching today has to be short, frequent, specific, not once a quarter class. It watches you want to watch one, coach one, and reinforce one. Okay. That's the real way to build that. And once you do that, the confidence of the advisor goes up, and it builds more trust over time with the customer. Right, right. So what do you say to that service fixed ops director that says, Corey, I hear what you're saying, but we've had record month after record month, and I don't see why we're doing anything wrong. And you know what I'm talking about, right? And I know that you've spent some days observing what we're doing, and we're not hitting the mark in a lot of different areas. But I'd remind you that last month was a record-breaking month. So why is it so bad? It's not really bad. It's low-hanging fruit. what would it look like if you actually made another $100,000 per month just by tweaking a few things and coaching on them?
Right.
What would that do for your department? What
right.
would that do for you personally? What
Yeah.
would that do for the dealer principal?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, just because it was a record-breaking month doesn't mean that you couldn't have made more money doing things the right way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just little tweaks. I'm talking getting back to basics. I know it sounds simple.
Yeah.
But it's the hardest job is the service advisor, and running that fixed ops division of the dealership is you're getting bombarded with customers, phone calls. They're not always happy.
Yep.
Right. You've got to reinforce and have a steady process. Just like in a team atmosphere, you've got to have plays. You've got to practice those plays.
That's right.
I don't want you to practice on your customers. I want you to practice 10, 15 minutes before the store opens.
Yeah. That's
I
right.
tell advisors all the time when I'm training them, I don't want you to walk out of here saying, well, Corey wants me to be 50% better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
No, I want you to be 1% better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. That's
If you're
right.
1% better every day, what are you at the end of the year?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. If tomorrow you left EasyCare, not that I think you should, but if you did and it was Corey Smith Toyota or Corey Smith Nissan, what would you be implementing and what would you be telling your service people? And the follow-up to that is going to be, would you have a BDC handling incoming service calls, or would you want the service advisors handling those calls? Which is a better way to go there?
I would want a mix of, because I love technology, AI answering phone calls, and I'd like to have a BDC. Not one that's in-house. I'd want to have one that is trained to communicate to the customer, to be that arm of the advisor, to take my menu that I have for my customers and be able to explain it, giving them feature advantage benefits to build that value.
Right. Right.
The other part that I would have is I'd have a big whiteboard with all of my KPIs, and I would update it every day. I personally wouldn't update it. I'd have one of my advisors do it. And they'd do it the whole week, and then the next advisor do it the next week, and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
I would get them all in a room, technicians, parts, sales, and service, and say, okay, we're going to help. We need your help to build a process. This is going to be our playbook. This is going to be our core value of how we're going to go and do business. And it's going to evolve over time, but today we're going to write this down. It takes 2 or 3 hours to go through, greeting. How do we answer the phone?
Sure.
How many rings do we go for?
Yeah.
When a customer has a comeback, something like that, those are your plays that you really want to structure. That's how I would build that. And I would do coaching. I think investing into people, even when you're investing into that customer, you're educating them, right? And you're investing into that advisor, you're educating them on how to do things. You're not minimizing what they're doing. It's a hard job. I want to help you be the best that you can be.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I used to do as a GM is I'd take my friend's phone, because I always knew my cell phone number, and I would call the dealership and ask for the service department to set an appointment, and or I'd have my friend do it, because oftentimes they would even know my voice. And it was really interesting as to what I'd find listening in, on this conversation, to see, A, to your point, how quickly was the phone answered, B, how I was handled sometimes, by a service advisor that got somebody standing in front of them, so they're hurrying through the process, and here's what we can do, and here's the time, and and you feel very rushed, right? Or oftentimes they'll say, hey, let me give you a call right back, I'm with somebody right now, and of course, right back never comes, or it comes the next day, or what have you. That person's already now moved on to an independent or another dealership or what have you. But I think dealers and fixed ops directors can learn a lot just by shopping their own dealership for service, right?
100%. And I think you should do that inventory, that check. You want to inspect what you expect. And if you're not getting that, that's an opportunity. That's not, I'm going to come down on you. This is an opportunity. This is what we found. If I'm going through this, then our customers are going through this.
That's right.
And again, if we can mirror and learn something from the Amazons and the Ritz-Carltons of the world, we can become better.
Yeah. And that's what consumers are expecting these days, right? Especially when they spend, upwards of $50, $60, $70, $80, $100,000 for their SUV or their pickup truck. They want that $100,000 experience, right? They're walking in going, okay, this better be first class all the way through, not just in the sales process, but also in that service process as well, right?
It's a mindset, and I had to learn that. Like when I was an advisor, if you were just doing an oil change with me, did I give you the red carpet treatment?
Yeah.
To be honest, no, I didn't.
Right.
If you were doing a 30,000 mile service, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had to learn through trial and error and surveys that I wasn't giving this customer the same attention.
Yeah.
And someday that customer that's just doing an oil change is going to come in for a 30,000-mile service.
That's right.
Right?
Or
So
they're gonna buy their next car from the dealership.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
That's right. No question about it. Corey Smith, EasyCare National Fixed Ops Training Manager. Thank you so much for today's tips for dealers. I think they're all great, and I agree with you that there needs to be more formal training that takes place inside of fixed ops departments. I think it's something that we suffer from in this industry, and obviously the variable ops, those sales managers are grouping up every day and going through some training, and I think it needs to take place in the fixed ops department as well. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Service Drive, exclusively on CBT News.